We're going to go ahead and get started here. I keep admitting people. So as folks come in, welcome to our fourth team huddle for Dynamo Youth Water Polo. I'm going to share the screen here in a second with Eric Zaltas. Eric and I were just talking, and it turns out that we've probably known each other since 1993, which is well before some of you were even born. Eric is one of the owners of PowerBar Sport here in the United States. And as you saw in the email that we sent out, Eric has a long history in sports nutrition and performance nutrition. So tonight, looks like we've got about 35 people or so, which is a great crowd. And we're going to listen as Eric's going to tell us about sports performance. He's going to talk a little bit about how to view nutrition for the way we train and compete for water polo. And please, as always, ask your questions in the chat. I'll ask Eric those questions at the end. And Eric and I have some prizes. So I'm going to be randomly awarding prizes to 3 of the question askers. And you can start asking questions right away, and we'll get to them at the end. So without further ado, Eric.
Great. Thank you, Stu, for the introduction, and welcome everyone. I hope everybody's safe, and this is a great opportunity while we're all spending a lot of time at home to learn about some things that could impact performance that we don't always take the time to do. Nutrition is one of them, and many athletes who I've interacted with over the years, from local athletes to some of the top world class and Olympians, don't know a lot about nutrition. It's not taught. Sports nutrition is not taught in school. And so we're going to take some time this evening, and I'm going to walk you through 3 basic concepts in sports nutrition for you to take home something. We're going to talk about hydration. Stu, let me just figure out how to flip the slides here if I can. I'm pushing, let me see. All right, I might have to ask you to flip the slides. That's all right.
Yeah, so just tell me when to go.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about hydration, fueling, and recovery. Just those 3 topics, and I'm going to give you a couple of pointers on each of those, and then we'll do a quick run through. As Stu mentioned, I head up the PowerBar Sport, so I'm going to walk you through those products and how you can use them practically in your both training and competition. And then jot down your questions, and we'll get through as many of them as we can. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so there's many things that go into optimum performance. There's natural ability, there's training, there's equipment. Nutrition is one of the concepts that people know is important, but they don't always know what to do. So let's go ahead to the next slide, and we'll start off with hydration. Okay, so I think you know this first bit. When you exercise, you lose fluids, you lose weight, and that is water. You also lose some electrolyte. You lose enough, and you're going to become dehydrated. When that dehydration, that weight loss, that water loss is really coming out of your bloodstream, so your blood becomes a little bit thicker, your heart has to work harder, even your concentration can be impaired, and you get dehydrated enough, and it's really impacting your thinking and your cognitive performance. The problem is that thirst is not a perfect indicator of hydration, so you can't just rely on whether you feel thirsty or not. So what you really want to do is make a plan. So on the next slide, first we'll talk about how can you tell if you're properly hydrated. One very quick test is just to look at urine color. You want to have your urine looking more like pale lemonade than on the right, like darker color like apple juice. This is not what you should be drinking. This is just the color. So how do you stay properly hydrated? So this concept we're calling a hydration zone It is okay to lose up to 2% of your body weight and not feel the effects of dehydration. If you lose 3% or more, you can really start to impact your performance. So let's talk about how to figure that out. If your starting weight is 150 pounds and you're well hydrated, if you lose 2%, that's about 3 pounds. If you weigh closer to 200 pounds, that's more like 4 pounds. So the way to figure this out is to step on a digital scale before a workout or competition, step on it afterwards and see what kind of weight loss you have. And if you're losing more than 2% of your body weight, you are potentially detrimentally impacting your performance. The really important point is at the very bottom of the slide on the left, there's a wide range of how much people sweat while they're working out. So you can't just say drink a certain amount and that's the same thing for everybody. You probably know if you're a heavy sweater or not. Sometimes if you're in the summertime, if you're outdoors and you're sweating, you might see salt caking up on your workout clothes. Obviously not as easy in the pool, but you can very easily learn this by just stepping on a scale before and after workouts. And if you're losing more, then drink more. Next slide. Okay, now we're going to talk about fueling. So during training and competition, when you're going hard, you're burning mostly carbs as fuel. When you're going easy, you're burning more fat, you burn a little bit of protein, but it's really carbohydrate that is your go-to fuel when you're pushing hard. And your carb fuel tank is not huge. So you want to start with a full tank. That fuel is called muscle glycogen, and that's really just stored carbohydrate in muscles. If you are pushing hard in a session or a game, you're going to empty your tank, and you empty that tank. When it gets empty, your performance is going to be decreased. So what do you want to do? You want to top off before, and you want to refuel during. And how to do that is not just going by hunger. So once again, you want to make a plan, and then you want to practice it in training. So here are a couple of things to consider. Before a competition or training session, you want to focus on carbohydrate snacks or meal, depending on the timing. If it's early in the morning, obviously you're going to be focusing on smaller snacks. If you have time, you could have a bigger carbohydrate-based meal in the 1 to 4 hours or 2 to 4 hours before the workout. Those carbs should be not accompanied by high fat. The carbs should not be high fiber. So this is not the time for fruits and vegetables. It's also not the time for big steak. So it's really a carb-focused meal or series of snacks. Now, during your competition, and I don't know if you keep things by the side of the pool, but a water bottle is probably the easiest thing to do. Your target is there's numbers here, 30 to 90 grams per hour of carbohydrate. So to give you a sense of how much carbohydrate that is, if you look on the right side, a gel, the little squeeze pack, has 27 grams. The shots, which are chews, the pouch, which has 9 of the chews, has 45 grams. And then if you have a 16-ounce bottle of the PowerBar drink, that's 29 grams. So you can mix and match these products to get into that range of 30 to 90 grams per hour. So for example, I'll just tell you in some of the marathons that I've run, I try to get in 3 gels over the course of each hour. So if I'm trying to hit 3 hours, I'll be doing 9 gels over the course of that 3-hour race. This is something that's probably most of you are doing less of, and you can improve your performance if you can move your carbohydrate intake up. And we'll look at that on the next slide or two. So next slide. So first we're going to talk about how the carbohydrates actually get to your muscles. So on the left side where you see glucose and fructose and the NA glucose symport. So this is the where it's going from your mouth through your stomach lining and gastrointestinal lining into your bloodstream. 2 carbs are absorbed through different doors. You see the glucose is green and the fructose is a sort of violet color. They go in through different doors, and in a specific combination of glucose and fructose, maximizes the energy that you can take in from your mouth and get to your muscles while you're exercising so that you can offset that small fuel tank that's stored in your muscles. So we go to the next slide and we'll have an analogy, which is the subway door. So if you have a crowded subway, of course, the subways are not crowded right now, but if you've got a lot of people trying to get into one door, if you open up a second door, you can get more people in. That's just like the carbohydrates, glucose, and fructose going in through two different doors. And all of the PowerBar products use this specific combination of these carbohydrates to allow the most amount of energy into the bloodstream, and it makes its way to muscles and gets burned. And one nice science slide here on this this topic. This is a cyclist in a lab, and they gave them a range of carbohydrate intake per hour. You can see on the bottom 0, 20, 40, up to 120 grams of carbohydrate per hour. In this case, the lower you go, the lower the number on the left, the faster. And the sweet spot for the intake of carbohydrate was between 70 and 90 grams per hour. Below that was not as fast, and above that was probably too much. And so that is a target to strive for. If you can't do that comfortably, it's okay, but it's something that you can try to push while you're training and see where your sweet spot of carbohydrate intake is to help to improve your performance. Okay. Okay, now we're going to talk about recovery. So you spend more time recovering than you do actually exercising, and this is really where the muscle adaptation happens. And we talked about how carbohydrates get used up during exercise. They need to be replaced. Obviously, getting enough rest between hard workouts. When you have multiple workouts, back to back, maybe twice a day or day after day. Or I know in your competitions, you've got multiple games through the weekend. You really want to get those carbs in between workouts. So we're going to talk about how to do that. One of the main concepts in recovery is taking advantage of this time after exercise. And as soon as you can after exercise, you see there in the bottom, it says within the first hour after exercise, muscles are hungry and they do more with the same nutrition than waiting. So as you can, you want to be taking in carbohydrate, and we'll talk about protein as soon as you can after the exercise to get you ready for your next match or game or workout. And we'll talk about what that plan is in the next couple of slides. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the importance of protein. So your muscles get broken down in a workout, and protein has now been shown to be beneficial not just in strength sports, but in endurance sports. And you guys are out there going long enough. What you're doing is got a combination of both strength and endurance. This study looked at how much protein is the right amount. And this, again, looked at different amounts of protein. You can see on the bottom from 0 to 40. And 20 grams is really as much as you need to maximize muscle recovery with protein. So 20 grams is the amount that we're going to be focusing on in each serving. And so right after exercise, you're going to focus on getting carbs, and you're also going to focus on getting 20 grams of protein. And we're going to talk about where those, how you can get 20 grams of protein from different foods in a little bit. On the next one. Okay, this is an advanced topic that you guys should be employing for recovery. This study looked at what is the best way to get your protein to be recovered throughout the day. They looked at, after a tough workout, either getting a big amount of protein, 40 grams every 6 hours, 20 grams every 3 hours, or 10 grams every hour and a half, and 20 grams every 3 hours was the winner. So the practical implication of that is this. At each of your meals, your 3 breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals, you want to get 20 grams of protein at each of those meals. And then between meals, you want to have a protein-rich snack that also contains 20 grams of protein. So this means not focusing on chips or sweets, but getting some protein-rich meals or snacks throughout the day. So your target is going to be 100 grams of protein, getting that 20 grams 5 times a day, 20 grams at each of the 3 meals, and then 20 grams at a couple of snacks in between. The 20 grams, I'm going to give you some examples of what that 20 grams could be. There's obviously protein shakes you can do, but if you're at breakfast, 3 eggs is 18 grams of protein. Yogurt is a great protein source. If you're at lunch, 3.5 ounces of meat, either beef or chicken. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, you can combine beans and rice, for example. Typically, the typical American diet gets plenty of protein at dinner, maybe meets the right amount at lunch, and typically is not enough at breakfast. So we want to balance that out for you to get at least that 20 grams of protein at each of the meals, and then you can hit a protein bar or a yogurt or a cottage cheese as snacks in between, or a protein shake that I'll talk about later. So this is a slide that just summarizes briefly the 3 topics of hydration for you to take home. So if there is one thing for you to remember, try to get the points on this slide. Hydration, you don't want to lose more than 2% of your body weight because you'll lead to performance decreases. So you want to drink enough so that you don't lose more than that. For fueling, you want to make sure you're constantly replenishing your carbohydrates. But right before training or a game, 2 to 4 hours before, you want to get a good dose of carbs, either in a big meal or a series of snacks. And that carbohydrate should be low fat and low fiber. So this is before the game is not the time to be eating whole grains and fruits and vegetables. And then during, like we talked about, 30 to 90 grams of stuff like sports nutrition products like gels and chews or sport drink is perfect. Post-exercise, you want to take advantage of that 1 hour post-exercise to get in those carbs and then start the muscle rebuilding and adaptation process with protein, 20 grams of protein right away, and then hit those 20 grams of protein at each of your meals and then snacks in between. Okay, so that's the end of the sports nutrition portion. Now we're going to quickly run through the PowerBar product line so you get a sense of what the products are and what their features are and how you can use them.
Hey, Eric, we've got 5 minutes total left. So
Okay.
we want to leave a couple minutes for questions, and I can email you questions afterwards as well, and we can get back to it that way as well.
Okay, you know what? I tell you what. Why don't we just go to the questions now? Maybe just go to the first slide, and we'll just show one. Or we'll do this side really quick. The PowerBar product line is all non-GMO, and it's also tested for banned substances. In case anybody's concerned about, they have to do testing in sport testing. And then if you just go to the next slide, I'll just give one example of product.
Oops.
Oh yeah, and everything has C2 max, which is this glucose, fructose, and then the next one. Okay, so this is just there's slides on each and feel free to share these slides with the group.
You bet.
There's slides on each of the products. All of the energy products have C2 max. They have a certain level of carbs. They have sodium, which is the key electrolyte. Some products are vegan and gluten free. They have a trash chain on the gels to make it easy to open and not have a little thing to dispose, and various flavors, some with and without caffeine. All right, let's go to some questions.
All right, so Harrison wants to know, I have a fast metabolism and I always feel like I need energy. What should I do?
Okay, so you you can ask the question back if you have problem eating. Once you get your carbohydrate needs met, and there was a recommendation on the previous slide of 10 grams per kilogram body weight. So let's say that you're 70 kilograms and you're getting 700 grams of carbs. You can use other macronutrients to fulfill the rest of your energy needs. So fat is an easy way to get full. So make sure you get that 10 grams per kilogram, so 700 grams if you're 70 kilograms, which is 150 pounds. And then okay to have some extra fat, if you want to do it through, high fat things like avocado or olive oil. You know, if you need to, you could be doing some, you know, you might be fortunate enough to be doing some milkshakes. But it is important to not lose weight while you're going through the training cycle.
So Harrison, unfortunately, the answer is math. You got to do math. A couple quick answer questions. So knowing that our trainings are usually about 2 hours each, knowing that a game in water polo usually lasts about an hour, Eric, are we better off drinking an isotonic or water during that period of time?
You know, you definitely want to get carbs, and from 1 to 2 hours, you should practice in training with the isotonic, with water and a gel, and see what you're comfortable with. Nutrition is sometimes a battle between getting energy in and gastrointestinal comfort. So that is one of the things you can do in training and see where is your comfort level. So that's the answer to that.
Okay, great. I am being teased by someone who wants to know how much protein is in 5 chili rellenos. We'll cover that later. Maddie Ta, who is headed to Chapman University in the fall to play varsity water polo, she asks, is it true that chocolate milk is just as good for muscle recovery as, say, a recovery-specific drink?
Good question. Okay, so the answer is you want to get 20 grams of protein regardless of how you get it. If you're going to do chocolate milk has about 1 gram per ounce. So if you're willing to drink 20 ounces of chocolate milk, you can get 20 grams of protein, and that's fine.
Okay.
You know, so the Recovery Max product that we've got gets you 20 grams and 8 ounces. So just target the 20 grams of protein. That's the key there.
Great. Eric, we've got a couple seconds left. So on behalf of Dynamo Water Polo, thank you to PowerBar for your many years of support. I'll email you some more questions, and this will all be available on our YouTube channel. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure, Stu, and good luck to you all. I'm very happy to answer any questions that come afterwards, and I'll be available, so no problem.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Have a great night. Don't forget your dry land workouts.
Bye-bye.
Bye.